Okay, this is a reaction video. This is from Walter's World. Please click like, share, and subscribe for him as well as for me. 90s to now, how travel has changed in the past 25 years. That's interesting to see how has travel changed the past 25 years.
Hey there, fellow travelers. Mark here with Walter's World, and today we're here in Turku, Finland. I used to live here back in the 90s, and
never been to Finland before. Would like to visit there.
just saying that out loud, living here in the 90s, just like, makes me feel so old. But the thing is I've seen so much travel changes over the last 30 some odd years that it really got me thinking, what are some of the big differences I noticed from when I started my travel journeys back in the 90s till today? And I think probably the biggest difference, the one that's had the most impact, that's allowed more people to travel around the world and travel around their countries and stuff than anything else, is the advent of low-cost carriers.
Yeah, I don't use a lot of low-cost carriers, but yeah, I know that especially in Europe, those are really big because you can get to different places for real cheap airlines. It's really, and I know you have like Spirit and Frontier in the United States, but yeah, low-cost airlines are really, if you don't mind, cheap economy airlines, these are the way to go.
You know, the Ryanairs, the EasyJets, the Spirit Airlines, the Allegiants, these low-cost carriers have made it so everybody can afford to fly. Well, maybe not everybody, but so many more people can afford to go to Rome for the weekend if you're here in Finland, or if you're in the U.S., go down to Florida, or go visit your family down in New Mexico because of these cheaper airlines. And that really changed things, because I remember back in the day, you really, people automatically said, no, I'm not traveling because plane tickets are too expensive. I mean, if I think about it, how the low-cost carriers have impacted prices, I used to pay more in the 90s to fly to Europe than I do today, 30 years later, to fly to Europe, okay? So if you're seeing how that impact is there, that low cost really does it, because I remember when we lived in Lisbon, okay, Josh and I would ask, hey, do we want to go eat Italian food tonight? Well, let's think. If we go out to eat Italian food in Lisbon, okay, we got 15 euros for a pizza, 15 euros for another pizza, and we have some wine. So we're going to spend about, let's say, for a nice dinner, we're going to spend quite a bit, say 100 euros to go out and have a big family meal. And I'm like, Or I looked online and the tickets were only 30 euros to Rome. I'm like, wait.
Yeah, like I said, in Europe, it's 30 euros to Rome. Yeah, might just go and actually have actual Italian food. I mean, I don't know if I would have done that. I realize it's probably not that far from to fly from Lisbon to Rome. I'm not sure I would have done that, but
So we can go eat Italian food for a night, or all three of us could fly to Rome? Let's go to Rome. I mean, that's how things change. And it really did make it so the airline industry and all these kind of things, it no longer was this kind of only for the rich to travel. It made it much more of just a bus with wings. And with that bus with wings, I think another thing that's really important to mention is just how many more people are traveling today, because prices for those flights have come down, but also
Now, next month, this is done in February. Next month, I'm going to London, England for the first time. The whole package is costing me $1,300, about that. That's giving me a hotel at the Park Place on the river side, and might actually go see an Arsenal game too. But we'll see how that pans out. But yeah, I'm flying a good airline, so I'm sure I'm going to get there. But yeah, it's exciting.
Interest in travel and the ability to travel and people's ability to get credit to be able to pay for travel if they don't have the money at the time has been a big boost for travel. So there's just more people. Literally everywhere I go around the world, I see more travelers. Even places like here in Turku, which is a beautiful town, and people don't come to Finland very often, let alone Turku. And
I'm sure there's quite a few Americans who've never heard of Finland, don't even know what Finland is. They may know that Finland is the team that the U.S. beat to win the gold medal in the 1980 Olympics, but that's it. That's probably all they know about Finland. Probably couldn't find Finland on a map.
I'm bumping into tourists from all over the world when I'm here, and you're seeing that, just how many more people are traveling, okay? And kind of with that, you also look at the idea of over-tourism. Have you seen the times in Athens when the Acropolis is overrun, or some of the islands, or you see cities like Amsterdam actively discouraging people from visiting because there's so many more tourists there? Yeah, the over-tourism is something I've seen in really popular tourist spots. Hallstatt.
You know, there was a one time I was working at a bank, and I had a woman. She wanted to, put an international travel notification on her debit card, and she said she was going to Amsterdam, and so I said, "Okay, you're going to the Netherlands." She goes, "No, I'm going to Amsterdam," and I said, "That's the Netherlands." She goes, "No, it's Amsterdam. I'm going to the country of Amsterdam," and I said, "The country of Amsterdam is actually the city of Amsterdam, and it is in the Netherlands." And she went and looked it up and goes, "Oh my God, you're right. I thought Amsterdam was its own country." I mean, that's the kind of people we have in the United States.
Austria, this little town, gets overrun with tourists every day, and then they leave. And what comes along with that? Because yes, it's great that so many more people are traveling, we get to go out there, but there's also the negative side effects I've seen of it. The over tourism that's out there, the Airbnb phase, right, when all these cities like Lisbon, where locals were priced out of their homes because owners are like, wait, I could rent this out for basically one weekend and get what I get from you in a month of rent? I'm just going to rent it out, because people come to Lisbon all the time. And you see how there's been that negative impact in terms of housing in a lot of places. And now you're starting to see cities kind of pushing back on those like apartment rentals and things, because, hey, the locals need a place to live too. Because though I've seen a lot of gentrification when it comes to travel, especially historic downtowns, and not just in Europe, but in the US and other places around the world, people have really done nice things to make their downtowns enjoyable again for tourists, but also the locals get to enjoy it as well. So some of that's been good, but some of it hasn't been so good. Now, another thing I've noticed around the international traveling sphere is just how much more English is prevalent than it was before. Like, I was...
Yeah, I mean, that's one of the big things. That's a language that is most widely spoken, I believe, in the world, is English.
Backpacking South America in the 90s. If you didn't speak Spanish, you were out of luck, let's just say, okay? But now when I go around, it's a lot of times there's going to be an English menu. They'll have English stuff out there. Their tourism board will have the local language and English, and the amount of people that have learned English in other countries is just increased dramatically.
Yeah, that's a huge thing. I think in FIFA at the World Cup, all the referees have to be able to speak English. And whenever you're, you like in France in '98, you had an announcement in French and you had an announcement in English. In Russia, you had an announcement in Russian, you had an announcement in English. It's English is just the most popular language to speak.
School systems, so therefore it's kind of become the de facto, tourism language is English. So if you're a German and you're in South America, you'll speak English to the people. If you're Japanese and you're going to Australia, you're going to speak English, yeah, but you're Japanese and you're going to go here to Finland, you're going to default back to English. So that's another thing I've kind of seen. But one of the things I really want to say, that one of the bad things I've seen is, since there's more people traveling, more people going around, more people spending money traveling, maybe spending more money than they should or can, I'm seeing a lot more ugly tourists. Like, you didn't have a lot of news articles about drunk, high people attacking flight attendants. Like, beer and I think it's Ambien they'll take, and then it makes them go nuts, or like, things can happen. You got to be careful. And I see so many more stories of attacks on flight attendants, people getting into fights on the planes, in the airports, a lot of frustration, people upset at Disneyland, and fights happening and stuff, because when you have so many more people, so many less space, we all get a little bit of fight or flight when there's too many people around. And
yeah, I mean, that's something that's terrible that needs to stop. You need to just look. It's not going to be perfect. We know that. I know that. You should know that. It's just not going to be perfect. Just roll with the punches, people. And just enjoy yourself. That's what you're there for anyway.
And then when we've spent thousands of dollars on our vacations, that amps up the stress level, and therefore people snap a little bit, I think, faster than before. So that's why I think I do see and I feel a lot more tension sometimes in travel than I have at other times, especially back in the day. A positive thing I've seen about travel over the last 20, 30 years is just how much more information is out there. I mean,
that's like I said, I'm going to England next month. There are so many videos on YouTube about places to go in England. Like, the Park Place Hotel. This is, you can look at the hotel, where it's located, how to get there, what's the best route to get there. There are so much information that is available to you on YouTube, which is why I love YouTube so much. There's so much information you can use to get where you go.
And not just basic information for like Helsinki, the capital of Finland, and Stockholm, the capital of Sweden, but smaller cities like Turku. It's like the third largest city in the country, but also small villages. You want to go out to Naantali, there's like hundreds of blogs about this nice little town in Finland. And whether it is Instagram, YouTube, TikTok, Facebook, any of the social media where people post about things, people that write blogs, all my bloggers out there, travel bloggers, thank you. It's just giving so much more information for us to know before you go, so you can get way more out about travel. And although the show is about food and where to eat and what to eat when you go there, I mean, that's totally changed things. So now you're not going in blind travel anymore. Like if you go anywhere and you don't know anything before you go, that's insane, because literally it's like someone's written a blog about it. Someone has a video on it. If you're going someplace, look up Walter's Road with the name of the place. Probably one of our blogs or videos will pop up. So it's really cool. But on the other side, another thing I've seen that's changed is there's just so many less kind of places that are untouched. People always ask me, Mark, what's the hidden gems in Germany?
Yeah, there are no more hidden gems in Germany. They've all found out because when I went out west back 4 years ago, something like that, with a buddy of mine, 3.5 years ago, we went to Little Bighorn, but one of the places that he wanted to go to was, I forget what it was called, Wounded Knee. I was able to look at Wounded Knee and see what Wounded Knee looked like and said, was it a place we wanted to go, or was it a place we should go? And all you need to do is just type it in, and there it is. So there's really no hidden places anymore.
What's the hidden gems in Finland? What are the hidden gems here? I'm like, there are no hidden gems anymore. Everyone's found everything, and that's just it. Like now it's more like, hey, what are the ones that aren't overrun, that don't have too many people? And so therefore it's hard to find that little diamond in the rough. So you got to make sure you're going out. Like I come back here to Turku every few years. Yes, I lived here, but I loved it here, and I love coming back here and seeing the people. And it doesn't have tons and tons of sites. Yeah, there's a cute castle you can go to at the front. You get the cathedral, which shows up in all my Finland videos because this church is really important to me. But I find things like this, and then I go to meet the culture. And I think that's another thing that's changed, is there's just so many more options to learn about the culture of the countries you go to. We're talking classes and tours. I mean, if you want to take a class in Morocco about how to cook in tangines, you can do that in Morocco. You want to learn how to make, macarons in France, you can do that. And so you can learn so much about the culture. Language classes, go to Brazil and learn Portuguese. Heck, you can go to Italy and learn Italian, or come here in Finland and learn Finnish, though you don't have to because they all speak English. But there's so many more opportunities to learn about cultures than there was before. I remember when I...
It'll be interesting when I get to London to see, I'm only going to be there a couple of days, but just to experience the culture, the pub culture, the football culture, the different things around how they do things different. Because, we all speak English. The English speak English, I speak English, but we're different people. And it'll be fascinating to see how things are done in England versus the United States.
I was learning, before I came to Finland to live here, I was trying to learn Finnish, and the only thing my library could find, no joke, was a record from the 1950s of Finnish. That was it. So I'm like on a record player. I'm like use a record player trying to learn it. Moi, hello, moi. Mitä kuuluu? How are you? Kiitos, thank you. And now, dude, think about the apps that are there, because that's another thing. The technology has changed so much. There's so much more tech out there. You got your Duolingos, Babbles, all kinds of to learn languages, Google Maps to make sure you're going the right way, Maps.me so you don't have to use your data. There's so many more things. You're never not connected. I remember back in the day, if I wanted to call my mom back home, I'd have to go get a bunch of telephone cards and then put them in the little thing and go to a payphone. There's another difference. There's no payphones anymore.
Yeah, there's no more payphones anymore. You don't need to do any 1-800-COLLECT. You don't have it anymore because you just have to use your phone.
You have to have a mobile phone when you're here, because that's another thing. You have to have this device, whereas before you could walk around with some cash and your passport and you're done. Now you have to have this, whether it's paying for things in some places, getting your recommendations, booking your hotels, your boarding pass for your plane.
Look, I'm going to be using my phone for an awful long time when I'm over there in England. I'm going to be flying there on a Wednesday, getting there on a Thursday, and flying back on a Monday. it's going to. I'm going to be using and that's one of the things. Look, I had to buy off of Amazon a converter so I can plug my phone in and charge it using the plugs they have in England. Okay, in the UK, they don't have in the United States. They're different because if I went up there with my plugs in the US, I wouldn't be able to use it.
Plane ticket. I mean, the technology changes so much in the last 20, 25 years that you really see it when you start thinking about it. The thing is, the more I think about this, the more I feel old when I start talking about these things. And I feel like I'm that grumpy old man, get off my lawn. But no, I mean, travel has changed for the better. And in some ways, it's changed for the worse. But the thing is, we're still traveling, we're still exploring. And one of the best parts about travel is it's still bringing us together as people. So you get to learn how there are differences in cultures, but there's a lot of similarities too, okay? So what are some of the changes you've seen in travel over the last few years or decades? Let us know in the comments below, because we'd love to hear your take on this. And I wish you all the best. I'll say moi moi from here in Turku, Finland.
Yeah, this was interesting. This travel changed the past 25 years. Like I said, I'm going to be traveling. I'm going to be traveling to London in March and into Los Angeles in April. So I'm going to be very busy next couple months with my traveling. But Walter's World, outstanding as always. Please click like, share, and subscribe for him, as well as like, share, and subscribe for me. And have a good rest of your day. Thanks for watching.